Okay, I'm back at this spot that I was at earlier this week. I just wanted to take a second to show you what it is that I have more of a background in. I don't have as much of a background in gold, but I brought out my cinema camera today, and so I would like to show you some of what that would look like. Anyways, got my trusty red shovel. Got this makeshift classifier. I've got this Garrett pan. This time I brought out a 5-gallon bucket and this little scoop shovel in case I need it. But I brought those out because even though I'll still probably use this to classify, I'm gonna be able to try to use this today. This is a DV Sluice 2000. It's basically got this grade on the top and these two little stoppers. I tried to do some research on this company, and they're made in Montana. They were made in Kalispell. This box has been in my family for a while without ever really getting used much. So I think at this point the company might not exist anymore. If it does, cool, but I can't find it. Their website's not active. They don't have any videos. So I don't really know how to use this sluice box because it's a little different. It's got this V shape at the bottom, and I'm not sure. I think that it should work though, and I want to try it. I think there's a good spot right here to set it up before this deep spot. So I'm gonna film doing that. Here we go. I gotta be honest, that's pretty cool. I feel like this is a pretty good setup for this. I don't know how much water I want, if this is maybe a little too much water maybe, but it's going right up against that first stop. I don't know if you could really call it a riffle, but that first cross in there, and it's kind of coming around, and I'll show you close up, and then it's coming out. I don't know, I'm gonna just drop some sand in here and see what it really looks like. I need to stabilize it a little more, for sure. I think it needs to be a little steeper, maybe. Just set up this sluice box, and as you can see, I've got water coming up to this middle line right here, and I think that's gonna wash it off from the top of this grate. And just from my couple of test scoops, there's some sand really piling up in that first one, and then in this back one right here. So at very least, I know that that really concentrated stuff stocking up in here, maybe it's a little bit too deep. Maybe the tiniest bit too much water coming through here, but I'm just gonna kind of play with it. Back in this eddy right here where I was, I think that I'm gonna try to dig down a little deeper in this first channel of the eddy, get down into the sand and get far down there. I'm still gonna classify into the gold pan because I don't have a classifier that fits this bucket. So I'm just gonna rough classify, throw it in the bucket, and then come over there and see what it looks like in that sluice box. self-draining bucket. This is tiring work. This is, man, I don't know how everybody's doing this. I think because I'm getting down to where there's a much harder base, I think I'm getting into where the heavies are landing further down in this sand. Because when I just looked at that last pan, I think it looked pretty good. So I'd like to try to just get a couple more good pans out of this spot. I'm not sure how far up my bucket's filled yet, but I just kind of want to see what it looks like. So I'm gonna fill up a couple more pans and then I'm gonna go back over to the sluice. Okay, I got almost basically a full bucket. I am going to move over to the sluice box. I have a nearly full bucket of classified material here. Feeling pretty good about it. I feel like once I was getting deeper in the sand on that eddy over there that I was actually starting to see some shiny gold flakes in the bottom of the pan, and didn't want to get too hung up on it because I really want to see what this sluice box looks like. I did end up making some adjustments and I'll show that too, but I feel like I've got the water going almost perfectly even across this whole sluice, and I've got a lot of sand that's just sitting in the bottom of this thing. So I'm thinking it's working pretty good, and I'm just gonna try to run this bucket and see what happens. I've got some other angles over here too. I'll get to it. Okay, I've run my first few scoops. I've got the water line right below there, and then it comes up right next to this bar. You can see though, after those first scoops, the whole bottom of that thing is pretty filled with sand. I'm wondering if I'm maybe not running it steep enough, if my water's not running fast enough. So I'm gonna try to make a couple adjustments, hopefully not lose too much sand. Maybe I should try to clean this out first. You can see down here, it looks like it's really doing a good job stripping all that stuff away. So maybe I just need to give it a little more time. I'm gonna try to just get a little more steepness to it. Yeah, I think that did it. It's really washing away that gravel now. You can see down here is really collecting some dark sand. Obviously, I'd feel a little better if this was a pan right here and I knew I was collecting all that stuff, but it's not really going anywhere, I suppose. It's pretty much right here. If I end up having to go after this stuff again because I screwed something up, so be it. I'm gonna run a couple more scoops and see what this looks like. Yeah, it's hard to know. It's hard to know if I need a little bit more water, if I need to go deeper with this angle. Oh wow, how about that? Right in my scoop. That is a nice little flake of gold. So we know we're getting some now. That's awesome. I think that's another little piece of gold. I'm gonna try to get this one on this camera. Okay, so the fact that I'm finding gold in my shovel, my scoops, means that I know if I'm not finding gold in the bottom of this sluice box, that I've had some user error in the setup of it. I'm not sure if I should be happy with this or not. I guess it's really gonna be telling when I go to clean out the sluice box. I know I've been seeing gold and decent sized flakes. There's some right there, right on the end of that shovel. I'm just getting down to the last of this bucket of classified stuff that I got over there. I've been seeing gold the whole time I've been scooping into this sluice, which is great. I've been seeing the biggest flakes I've found so far. I am a little concerned with this sluice box, with the height of the water and the speed of the water, whether or not it's working how it's supposed to, because right now it's pretty much full of material in the bottom and it's not really moving it. I'm gonna clean out the back of this, kind of mess with it a little bit, and then just run the rest of this bucket and see how it goes. I can hear it now that I adjusted that height and I've got a little faster water coming in. I can actually hear it moving those rocks in there. It looks a lot better now. I think that's what I needed. Yeah, that's looking great. Let's run the rest of this bucket. You can see just on this one shovel, there's gold all over this thing. So I'm definitely finding some success. Holy cow. That's a picker. I can't even make it up, you guys. I just found one. The bottom of my bucket here is really starting to pay off. That is a decent little piece of gold. Heck yeah, let's keep going. Okay, you can see a little bit of black sand in my tailings. Maybe not the best sign. As you can see now, some of the sluice is cleaned out a little better, but there's still some black sand in there and hopefully a whole bunch of gold. So let's clean this sluice box out, put the big camera away. Well, that was a little scary. Okay, one full bucket reduced down to the bottom of a bucket. I'm going to pan this and see what it looks like. Hopefully I didn't lose all my gold out of the sluice box. I think if I did, obviously make some adjustments, figure out exactly where the height's supposed to be, maybe get a sluice mat or some moss. I might have to modify this box a little bit. Oh, this is the point where I need something to break the surface tension. Some of it's definitely floating a little bit. Wow, there's a lot of gold in the bottom of this pan. Holy cow, this is awesome. I'm really excited because I just cleaned out the sluice box and I'm seeing a ton of gold in the bottom of this pan. So I'm gonna do my very, very best job to be very delicate and try to get this gold out of here without losing as much as I can stand to. I've got some that's definitely floating, so getting some jet blue, that's on my list. I have a bunch of things that I don't have that I need to get. I don't have a real classifier. You're seeing what I'm using. I need to get that. I really should get a better pan, but this one's doing a good job. I also don't have any kind of bottle to suck up any of this gold with when I'm done. So I'm just gonna have to keep the concentrates around. I'm being way cautious. I'm feeling kind of nervous about doing this because I'm seeing so much gold and I don't want to lose it. Once I can get it all the way to the bottom, I know that I can strip away some of this and get a good look at it. Yeah, I feel like I'm just watching gold float away. That's all right. Gotta learn. Trying to bang it into this opposite corner and then work my way back. You can see caught up in the riffles up there, just Probably the main thing on my list right now to buy is a snuffer bottle because I don't have any way of really getting this out of here. I'm not sure. Hard to tell. I think I lost some too. I definitely lost a little bit of gold in this process, but that's okay. I'm just trying to be way gentle now that I'm down basically to the black sand. I'm just gonna try to really get this cleaned out as best as I can and be able to really look at the gold that's in here. Okay, I'm hoping I didn't lose everything. I definitely still see some gold. Obviously, if I had access to a miller table, I wouldn't be doing this part. It would be smarter also if I would have done this into a bucket. But again, I'm just trying to learn. I'm gonna show you a close-up of this. And I'm gonna keep the sand around to try to keep processing later. I don't think I wanna do too much more into the creek. There's definitely some gold in there though. I'm gonna go ahead and say I lost a fair amount of gold. But not to say I'm not learning, and not to say that I don't have some in here, because I do. Just kind of finding out what it's gonna look like. Based on having run this just now, one whole section through the new sluice box, I feel pretty good about day 2 out on the creek. Thanks for watching. See you next time. I want to jump back on really quick and just mention, you know, I'm learning what I'm doing when it comes to gold mining. So all the mistakes that I made today, feel free to just show it, say something about it. I'm ready to learn. I'm also actively learning as I'm doing it. I know that that last pan that I did, I should have done at the house in a bucket, into a tray or a tub, use some JetBlue to break that surface tension, and then know that even if I'm screwing up and losing some gold, I'm just catching it in that other tray. So definitely could stand to learn from that. And I wanted to also just note, I didn't show this on camera, I put all of that gravel back into the hole that I ended up digging today. So still on the goal of really not leaving much of a trace, and I'm trying to really clean up as I go. And even though I'm just learning and prospecting, I'm also just kind of not trying to have an impact on the land. So all of that in mind, thanks again.